In the heart of Tokyo, at the ever-busy Shibuya Station, stands a statue of a dog that has become more than just a landmark. To the millions who pass it daily, it serves as a silent reminder of a tale so touching, it transcends time. This is the story of Hachiko, an Akita dog whose unwavering loyalty turned him into a legend. Born in the 1920s, Hachiko shared an unbreakable bond with his owner, Professor Hidesaburo Ueno. Their daily routine was simple but meaningful. Every morning, Hachiko would walk with the professor to Shibuya Station, where he would bid him farewell as he boarded the train. Every evening, Hachiko would return to the station, eagerly waiting to greet his owner at the exact same spot. But one tragic day, the professor did not return. What followed was a decade-long testament to love and devotion, as Hachiko continued to wait, day after day, regardless of weather or season. His story is a powerful reminder of the beauty of loyalty, the pain of loss, and the unyielding hope that defines the strongest bonds. Through this story, we remember not just a dog, but a love that truly stood the test of time. Hachiko's story begins in 1923 in Odate, a rural town in Japan's Akita prefecture. Born into a litter of purebred Akita dogs, Hachiko was a puppy full of promise, with a cream-colored coat and an inquisitive nature. It was in 1924 that his life would take a turn toward destiny. A kind and gentle man, Professor Hidesaburo Ueno, who taught agricultural science at the University of Tokyo, decided to adopt him. From the moment the professor brought Hachiko home, the two formed a bond that was immediate and profound. Professor Ueno named him Hachiko, a name that reflected the professor's affection and the Akita's reputation as a loyal breed. As Hachiko grew, he became a constant presence in Ueno's life, not just as a pet, but as a companion. He would follow the professor around their home, his tail wagging with every step. The two shared an unspoken understanding, a connection built on trust, companionship, and love. It wasn't long before Hachiko became a part of Ueno's daily routine. Each morning, the professor would walk to Shibuya Station to catch the train to the university, and Hachiko would accompany him, trotting happily alongside. When they reached the station, Hachiko would watch Ueno board the train, and then settle at the same spot to wait for his return in the evening. It was a simple ritual, yet it spoke volumes about the bond they shared. Day after day, Hachiko showed up at the station, waiting patiently for the moment when he would see his beloved owner step off the train. To the commuters and station workers, the sight of Hachiko had become familiar. They would smile as the loyal Akita sat dutifully, his eyes fixed on the station's entrance, his tail wagging the moment the professor appeared. What began as an ordinary routine soon became a symbol of love and devotion, though no one could have imagined the depth of Hachiko's loyalty or how it would shape his extraordinary legacy. Each morning, Professor Ueno and Hachiko would walk to Shibuya Station together, their bond evident in the way Hachiko trotted faithfully beside him. As they arrived at the station, the professor would gently pat Hachiko's head before boarding his train to the University of Tokyo. Hachiko, in turn, would take his place near the station entrance, watching as the train disappeared into the distance. Hours later, as the train pulled back into the station in the evening, Hachiko would spring to his feet, tail wagging in eager anticipation. The professor would step off the train, greeted by the unwavering loyalty of his four-legged friend, and together they would make their way home. For the people of Shibuya Station, this daily scene became a familiar and heartwarming sight. The station workers, shopkeepers, and commuters couldn't help but admire the dog's routine and the bond he shared with his owner. Some would even stop to pet him or offer him small treats as he waited patiently, never straying far from his chosen spot. Over time, Hachiko became a quiet fixture of the station, blending seamlessly into its rhythm. Rain, shine, or snow, he was always there, an unspoken promise to his owner that he would be waiting. What made this simple routine so remarkable wasn't just the constancy of Hachiko's actions, but the sense of devotion behind them. For Hachiko, the hours spent waiting were never a burden. They were an extension of his loyalty and love, a daily testament to the unbreakable bond he shared with the professor. While for the professor, Hachiko was a beloved companion, for the people of Shibuya Station, he had become a symbol of something more. He was a reminder of steadfastness and fidelity, quietly touching the lives of all who passed through the station. Yet, none of them could have known how this ordinary ritual would soon become a story that would transcend time and borders, cementing Hachiko's place in history. One fateful day in May 1925, the routine that had defined Hachiko's life was suddenly shattered. As always, Hachiko accompanied Professor Ueno to Shibuya Station in the morning, watching him board the train and settling into his usual spot to wait for his return. But this time, the professor didn't come back. While lecturing at the University of Tokyo, Professor Ueno suffered a sudden and fatal brain hemorrhage. He passed away without any warning, leaving behind the devoted dog who had no way of understanding why his beloved owner had not returned. That evening, Hachiko waited as the trains came and went, his eyes scanning every passenger who stepped off, searching for the familiar figure of the professor. But the evening faded into night, and the professor never appeared. Confused but undeterred, Hachiko returned the next day, and the day after that, faithfully taking his place at the station, certain that one day his owner would step off the train and greet him with the same warmth he always had. Days turned into weeks, and Hachiko's routine never wavered. Word of the dog who continued to wait for his owner despite his absence began to spread among the station's workers and daily commuters. Many of them recognized the deep sorrow in Hachiko's quiet presence and were moved by his unyielding hope. They began to care for him, offering him food and water, ensuring that this remarkable dog was not forgotten. Hachiko's dedication quickly became more than just an individual act of loyalty. It was a symbol of love and perseverance. To those who passed by, it was impossible not to be struck by the sheer strength of Hachiko's devotion. For Hachiko, however, there was no choice to be made. His loyalty was unconditional, his purpose clear. He would wait for the professor, no matter how long it took. And so, his vigil continued, rain or shine, through every season, as Hachiko's hope remained undimmed. As the months went on, Hachiko's daily vigil became a powerful symbol of unwavering loyalty, and his story began to capture the hearts of those who saw him. His routine didn't change, despite the passing time and the absence of the professor he so dearly loved. Whether it was a cold winter day or a scorching summer afternoon, Hachiko remained at his post, always watching the trains, waiting. It wasn't just the station workers who took notice. Commuters, passers-by, and even visitors from distant parts of Japan began to hear about the dog who wouldn't stop waiting for his owner. In 1932, a journalist from a Tokyo newspaper published an article about Hachiko's devotion. The story spread quickly, touching the hearts of the Japanese people. People who had never even seen the dog felt a deep connection to his story. It was a reminder of the purity of love and loyalty, something everyone could relate to. Hachiko became a symbol of these qualities, and his story began to inspire not just locals, but people across the country. As his fame grew, more and more people began to visit Shibuya Station to catch a glimpse of the loyal dog. He was no longer just a dog waiting for his owner. He had become a national symbol of devotion. People would stop by to leave him food, treats, and kind words, moved by the sight of his enduring loyalty. Despite the kindness of the community, Hachiko's mission remained unchanged. He waited, day after day, month after month, for a reunion that would never come. But Hachiko's dedication was never questioned, and his legacy continued to grow. In 1934, a bronze statue of Hachiko was erected at Shibuya Station in recognition of his loyalty. The statue stood as a tribute to the love between a man and his dog, and the bond that never broke, even in death. The unveiling of the statue was a significant moment, and though Hachiko couldn't understand the grand gesture, his presence at the station made it clear. His story had left an indelible mark on the hearts of all who knew it. Hachiko's vigil wasn't just about waiting for a lost owner, it was about representing something timeless, the enduring power of loyalty, a reminder of the strength of bonds that can never be broken, no matter the circumstances. And so, even as the world around him changed, Hachiko remained, a silent guardian at Shibuya Station. On March 8, 1935, after nearly 10 years of waiting, Hachiko's journey came to an end. His health had been declining for some time, and despite the care he received from the kind people at Shibuya Station, his body could no longer withstand the years of loyalty. He passed away quietly, near the very station where he had spent so many years of his life waiting for the professor who would never return. The news of his death spread quickly, and the city mourned the loss of the dog who had captured the hearts of so many. Thousands of people attended his funeral, and many left flowers at Shibuya Station in his memory. The public's affection for Hachiko had grown over the years, and now, with his passing, they felt as though they had lost a part of themselves. It was more than the death of a dog. It was the end of a story that had symbolized the very essence of loyalty. In the days that followed, tributes poured in from all corners of Japan. People shared their stories of how Hachiko's devotion had inspired them, how his example of unwavering love had touched their hearts in ways they could never fully express. His memory was honored in newspapers, on the radio, and in the streets. It became clear that Hachiko had become more than just a dog. He had become a symbol of love, hope, and devotion for an entire nation. The statue that had been erected in his honor at Shibuya Station in 1934 was more than just a physical monument. It was a representation of everything Hachiko stood for. After his death, the statue took on even greater significance. It became a place of remembrance, a spot where people could gather to pay their respects and reflect on the powerful lessons Hachiko had taught them. Though Hachiko had passed away, his story lived on in the hearts of everyone who knew it. His legacy wasn't just the loyalty he showed to Professor Ueno, it was a reminder of the loyalty we can show to each other, a testament to the enduring strength of love and the unbreakable bonds we form with those we care about. Even as time moved forward, Hachiko's memory remained a guiding light for generations to come. Hachiko's passing did not mark the end of his story, but rather the beginning of a lasting legacy that would continue to inspire for years to come. His memory lived on not just through the people who had witnessed his devotion, but through the countless others who heard his story and were deeply moved by it. The statue of Hachiko, which had been unveiled in 1934, became a central part of his legacy. After his death, it took on an even greater significance, becoming a place of pilgrimage for those who had heard of his story or seen his remarkable devotion firsthand. The statue stood as a reminder of loyalty, love, and the powerful bond between a dog and his owner, values that resonated deeply with the people of Japan and beyond. Hachiko's influence spread further with the publication of books, articles, and even films that told his story. In 1987, a Japanese film titled Hachiko Monogatari was released, chronicling his life and loyalty. It introduced the story to a new generation, ensuring that his legacy would be preserved for years to come. The film highlighted the unbreakable connection between Hachiko and Professor Ueno, showing audiences just how deeply the dog's love had shaped the people around him. In 2009, Hollywood added its own tribute to Hachiko with the film Hachi, A Dog's Tale, starring Richard Gere. While the setting was changed to the United States, the core of the story remained the same. A dog who waited for his deceased owner for years, embodying loyalty and love that transcended time. This film brought Hachiko's story to international audiences, introducing him to even more people across the globe and reinforcing his status as a universal symbol of devotion. Today, Hachiko's statue at Shibuya Station remains one of the most visited landmarks in Tokyo, a place where people from all walks of life stop to reflect, take photos, or simply pause to honor the dog whose loyalty changed the world. His memory is honored not only in Japan, but across the world, with statues, books, and films continuing to share his story of devotion and love. Hachiko's legacy lives on in the hearts of those who encounter his story, a timeless reminder that loyalty, love, and hope can endure, no matter the hardships life may bring. He may have passed, but the lessons he left behind are as powerful today as they were nearly a century ago. His story is not just about a dog. It's about the love that connects us all, a love that never fades, no matter the distance or time. Hachiko's story is more than just a tale of a dog who waited for his owner. It's a powerful reminder of the profound impact loyalty, love, and hope can have on our lives. Hachiko showed us that true devotion isn't just about physical presence. It's about the emotional bond that transcends time and even death. His unyielding commitment to Professor Ueno, even after his passing, highlights something we all can relate to: the longing to honor those we love, and the lengths we are willing to go to for those who mean the most to us. Hachiko's actions speak to a deeper, universal truth, that love is not limited by time, space, or circumstance. His story has touched countless people around the world, inspiring us to reflect on the relationships in our own lives. How many times have we experienced the bond between a pet and their owner, or the unwavering support of a friend or family member? Hachiko's story elevates this kind of loyalty to an almost mythical level, reminding us that true love doesn't fade, no matter how much time passes. While Hachiko's physical form is no longer with us, the essence of his loyalty and devotion lives on in the many statues, books, and films that tell his story. His legacy serves as a bridge between generations, uniting people from different walks of life with a shared understanding of what it means to love unconditionally. Whether it's a person, a pet, or even an idea, Hachiko's story encourages us to cherish the bonds we have and to never take them for granted. As we reflect on Hachiko's story, it's important to remember that loyalty isn't always easy. It requires patience, resilience, and an unwavering belief in the connection we share with those we love. But in the end, it's this kind of loyalty that creates the strongest, most meaningful relationships, ones that can stand the test of time. Hachiko's legacy reminds us that love is a gift we can give to others, and the impact of that love can echo far beyond our lifetimes. It's a reminder that no matter what, the bonds we create with others are worth holding on to, and that the memories of those we've lost will always remain with us. Just like Hachiko's waiting, the love we give can last forever. Hachiko's story is one that resonates with people of all ages, backgrounds, and cultures. It's a tale of pure devotion that has withstood the test of time, touching hearts around the world. As we look back on Hachiko's journey, we realize that his life isn't just about the love he had for his owner, but also the incredible impact he had on the lives of so many others. In many ways, Hachiko's loyalty to Professor Ueno serves as a mirror for us to examine our own relationships. How far would we go for those we love? Would we wait? Would we stand firm, no matter the challenges? Hachiko's story invites us to reflect on the love we give and the love we receive. It challenges us to be more patient, more resilient, and more dedicated in our own lives. Hachiko's journey is a reminder that loyalty is not just an action. It's a choice, one that we make every day. What Hachiko teaches us is that love, in its purest form, never falters. It doesn't give up when times are tough or when obstacles seem insurmountable. His steadfast devotion to Professor Ueno is a reflection of the kind of love that we all strive for, a love that endures through the hardest times and the longest waits. It's the kind of love that lives on in memory, transcending death and continuing to inspire long after the physical connection has been lost. In the years since Hachiko's passing, his story has not only become a part of Japanese culture, but has also spread around the world, inspiring countless people to live with more love, more loyalty, and more hope. His statue at Shibuya Station is a permanent reminder of the incredible bond that can exist between a person and their pet, and the lessons we can learn from that bond. Hachiko's legacy continues to inspire, reminding us that love isn't just something we feel, it's something we do. Whether we're caring for a family member, waiting for a friend, or standing by someone who needs us, loyalty and love are powerful forces that have the ability to change lives. And just like Hachiko, we all have the capacity to make an impact that lasts beyond a lifetime. Hachiko's story is a tribute to the power of love, and it will continue to inspire generations to come. His memory is forever etched in the hearts of those who knew his story, and as long as his statue stands in Shibuya Station, his legacy will live on. We may never meet Hachiko in person, but through his story, we can all be reminded that loyalty and love are worth waiting for, worth fighting for, and worth living for.